Lava. Welcome to our another episode of Clock That Tea with Nu. And I am excited to be here with our amazing guest today, none other than Ms. Jaiyah Saelua. Jaiyah is a trailblazing athlete and advocate who recently made headlines as the first openly transgender person to compete in FIFA World Cup qualifier. In addition to being the inspiration for the film Next Goes Wins, she was crowned Miss Sophia 2026-2027 in late April and served as a leader for the American Samoa Alliance Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce our guest today, Ms. Jaiyah Saelua, and I will give her the floor to introduce herself and give us a little details about herself. Hi, Jaiyah.
Hi,
Pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much. You basically touched on everything that I am, but I'm gonna just dive a little deeper into what makes me unique in in these my personal experience is unique. So in 2011, I was recognized by FIFA as the first out trans person to play in a FIFA sanctioned tournament, and at that time, I didn't think much of it. I was basically just a football player, someone who liked to play soccer, as we call it in American Samoa. And who just so happened to be a fa'afafine. So on the global scale, it became something very significant, and I didn't realize that until later on when the documentary Next Goal Wins was released at the Tribeca Film Festival in New York City. And that's when the platform kicked off. I was asked by FIFA to do a lot of things. I was asked by news outlets to do interviews and just talk more about what the identity of the fa'afafine is and the significance it has to the Samoan culture. And so I did that for a while, and but it didn't dawn on me that my story was my own to tell, and the empowerment or the power that my story had lie only with me. And that realization came very late in my work in terms of advocacy. When I did the Hollywood tour for Next Goal Wins with Taika Waititi,
Yes.
Berlin, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, wherever it was that I was taken to, I felt like I was being told, Kusa, my story was narrated for me by Hollywood, by Disney and Searchlight. And I thought I had to put a stop to that. So once my contract with Hollywood and Disney was done, I went on to tell my own story in the truth about my experiences with figures like Thomas Rongen in the movie, my experiences with FIFA as an organized body of football around the world, my personal journey with hormone replacement treatment and how the timelines clash with the movie. So little things like that I felt needed to be told, just to help fa'afafine youth who might be experiencing those same kinds of struggles with their own identities, especially at the intersection of our indigenous identities as fa'afafine and with our Western identities as trans women or LGBTQI+. And so I feel like for many years I have been doing advocacy work. I'm only just now realizing the power that I have in the things that I say and the power of my own story, as true as it can be, and the impact it can have on young fa'afafine. So I think moving forward, since I was crowned the Miss Sophia's just last week?
Yeah.
I feel like that's where my platform should focus on,
Yes, true.
is just reclaiming the identity of fa'afafine in all its powers, but also in all its struggles as well. And then just helping young fa'afafine navigate that intersection where there's so much Western influence on our identities, where a lot of youth feel like they have to assimilate to either a trans person or a gay man. Whereas in the fa'afafine spectrum, the uniqueness of the fa'afafine spectrum, a gay man and a trans woman are both fa'afine.
Yes.
And it's not until we feel like we need to assimilate or conform to those Western ideologies that we then become divided. So yeah, that's where a lot of,
Yes.
it was very long-winded,
No.
but I feel like that's where the focus of my work should be on now that I'm grown and I'm pretty much more well versed in especially the language in terms of advocacy for fa'afine. So yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. Thank you, Jaiyah, for sharing that powerful story of yours and how it came to be, and you being out there in the world representing our fa'afine is such a pride and honor, especially for us, the youth, looking at you as one of our role models and the things you do.
Thank you.
It's very special. So we're happy for you. So I wanted to ask you, looking back at Hollywood movie Next Goal Wins, how much did your life change after the story went global?
So I tell this story every opportunity I get. The Next Go Wins documentary tour was different. It was very small scale, not to downgrade the experience, but in comparison to the Hollywood experience, oh my gosh, if you ask me again if I would ever do any projects with Disney or Searchlight, the answer is a clear no.
Okay.
Only because the documentary experience, I had more freedom to I had more autonomy on my over my schedule.
Yes.
And they were very lenient with me taking breaks, and I was able to do a couple of interviews and then go have lunch or something. But the Hollywood experience, and this is not to discourage anyone who's interested in pursuing a career in film or any of the other aspects of Hollywood, but my personal experience, I did maybe a junket consisted of maybe 30 interviews, and it was one after another. It was like a setting like this where we sit and then the interviewer comes, whatever the outlet is, and it's like 15 minutes and then the next one, 15 minutes. So imagine 30 of that, and then a 20-minute lunch break, and then more of that, more of a junket interviews. And then at the end of the day, it would be a private screening for a foundation or an organization, or some rich folks who wanted to have a private screening for whatever the reason, and then we would go into red carpet interviews. So those are a little more hard for me because settings like this, we could speak freely and more raw. The information is very unfiltered. And that's how junkets felt. But the red carpet interviews are more structured. And I was more, and because there are so many cameras and then the live audiences are there, it was always, and then the harshness of the lights and the flashing cameras and it's just, I felt like it took a bigger toll on me as a human being. And I thought, no wonder a lot of celebrities go into drugs, and I can't. This was only a few months of my life, and it was so heavy on my mental health. I can't imagine celebrities doing it for, as careers. So I wouldn't mind doing smaller, more indie film experiences, but never again with Hollywood.
Oh, thank you so much. With the 15 interviews, I think I couldn't even last just a few of them. I'll be done and gone with just the second or just probably the first. So when you visited FIFA headquarters as a FIFA legend, what went through your mind?
So as someone whose main passion is football, is soccer, I started playing at the age of 11. It was the only competitive sports that was offered to my elementary school. I went to the South Pacific International Christian School in Fatumafuti in American Samoa. And we had things like the chess competition, science fair, history day, all of those, the academic competitions. But when we were introduced to a sporting experience, we were like, oh my gosh, wow. So it was co-ed at that young age, and it really stuck with me at a young age because It was fun. It was something I realized that I had the natural ability to do. And so, I pursued it. By the age 14, I was drafted to the senior national team. I played for the national team ever since. My first year as the captain of the senior national team was at the Pacific Games 2019 lang hosting Jaiyah Samoa. That was my first time as a captain of the national team, the men's national. For everybody's full transparency, I play for the men's national team, American Samoa. Okay, for barbecue, maya lunga life up. If you can, no, I play for the men's team. But ever since 2011, like I mentioned, I was recognized by FIFA as the first out trans person to play in a FIFA tournament. I was on the cover of FIFA magazine. September 2016 issue, which is distributed to all 200 FIFA members and printed in 7 different languages all throughout the world. I was on the cover of FIFA magazine. Yeah. And then my support with women's football grew even more when Sarai Bearman she's from Samoa. Sarai Bearman was named the head of women's football development at FIFA headquarters in Zurich. And that's when Infantino came to American Samoa on his tour of Oceania leading up to the Women's World Cup in 2023, because it was the first time any FIFA tournament, any world tournament was hosted in the region. Yes. So it was a big thing. So all the high-ups of FIFA did a tour of Oceania before they went to New Zealand and Australia for the closing of the World Cup tournament. We had this whole production for the president and his delegation, and that's where he invited me to come as one of the delegates for American Samoa to the World Cup in New Zealand. I can't even remember if it was in New Zealand or in Australia. I think it was Sydney. But that's where it was at the closing executive dinner le FIFA Umala World Cup, the same night of the World Cup final, Lingamaloai, Spain, that FIFA President Infantino invited me to the hotel, and we had this, what is this about? Like, what could he possibly need me to come to this executive dinner of FIFA? And it was to induct me to the FIFA Legends class, which is a very exclusive. There have only been 2 from Oceania. I think Tim Cahill was one from Australia, and then Christian Karambeu from, I might get this wrong, but I think Christian Karambeu is from New Caledonia, that have ever been inducted to the FIFA Legends class. And so I would be the 3rd. And I thought that honor was so, coming from a small Pacific nation, it's a very unique opportunity to be recognized on such a global scale. Sarai Bearman was able to break through that glass ceiling for women, but in terms of Sochi-esque, in terms of Fafafine, LGBTQIA+, it sends a very powerful message to the world that FIFA does recognize the value that LGBTQIA+ people, if not Sochi-esque and Fafafine people, hold in these kinds of spaces. And I'm so grateful and honored to have that recognition. But yeah, the work continues, and every opportunity I get to work with FIFA, I always say yes, because that opportunity means an opportunity to help grow the inclusivity face of FIFA as an organization.
Wow, congratulations, Jaiyah.
Thank you.
It's so inspiring to hear your story, and being a Fa'afafine is very more powerful, and your representation really matters, especially from ASEAN. Like, it's a very small country, and people get to ask, where's Samoa from? And the only thing you get to tell them, we only have 2 weathers. It's hot and it's raining. That's it. We don't have the 4 seasons. So,
and I think that's where a lot of my strength comes from. Sorry to interject, but I feel like I need to say that a lot of my strength and my resiliency and my capacity to be brave in these global spaces comes from my experiences as a fa'afafine. And if you look at the experiences of a lot of trans women around the world, whangakala ko experiences, and it's very hard for them to break through these kinds of spaces and these kinds of... they hardly ever have these experiences. And when they do, it becomes such a huge breakthrough for the trans community. But for Tato'i Fa'afafine, I feel like there are a lot of Fa'afafine who play on the men's national volleyball teams, in our, whatever sport. Ikaw nga integrate Fa'afafine representatives in athleticism. And so I always make sure that I have to credit my Fa'afafine identity, my Samoanness, my culture for nurturing me in a way where I feel strengthened, empowered by my identity as a Fa'afafine.
Malo. As you mentioned that you started playing football at the age of 11, have you in the age of 11, did you ever think, or have you ever thought you would become this famous?
No. At that age, a lot of us have an idea of what we want to be when we grow up. Sometimes it's, I want to be a doctor. Sometimes it's, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a nurse. No, but and a lot of times in American Samoa specifically, because a lot of the recruitment for American football comes from American Samoa. A lot of the very limited opportunities for youth to leave the island, but sure tickets are American football and the U.S. military. Kile recruitment to the NFL, mali U.S. military kukuila. Yeah, America Samoa. And so at a young age, I didn't know that I wanted to play football. It's not like at 5 or 6 or 7 years old, I told myself, I want to be a famous soccer player. No. Just going with the flow at a young age, trying to figure out life as it is, as we understand it, based on the things that we're cognitive of, because at a young age, we don't know much about the world. And even at that age, I didn't even realize I was a Fa'afafine. We see older Fa'afafine and we know who they are, but you never really know that you yourself are one until you're cognitive of what sexuality is, of what identity is, and those kinds of things. But I never grew up wanting to be a professional soccer player, or to be famous, or to be in a movie. Those are opportunities that came to me simply because I stuck to my passion as a football player. I focus on training my skills and my techniques as a football player, and it just so happened to be a Fa'afafine. It just so happened to have a documentary crew from London. At the time, we made history by winning our first international match against Tonga. Just so happened that Taika Waititi picked up that documentary one day and said, I want to make a movie about this story. So then came the Hollywood movie. So it's a lot of experiences that just happened. It wasn't something that I pursued.
So good to hear your story. So I've heard that you've been transitioning to coaching.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You've been taking coaching courses recently. What is the hardest part of teaching rather than playing?
Oh my gosh. So as a player, and I'm sure all athletes know this, as a player, it's all about the technicalities and the skill levels and about delivering your best on the pitch, whatever sport it is. And then when I got older and realized that my ability to play wale kukusa okay, I'm gonna try and go to do refereeing. So refereeing was my first venture outside of playing. Boom. Refereeing, you have to know, as a player, of course you have to know the basic rules of the game, but refereeing, you have to know so much about the sport. It's so overwhelming to transition from playing to refereeing that I gave up refereeing. But next best thing, coaching. So,
Yeah.
but whenkaya o I kukuila because the Football Federation American Samoa, we don't have a lot of coaching courses.
Oh.
Seasonal o coaching courses, Lepio le Football Federation Samoa. They're very consistent. And over here, you have the C license coaching, which eventually, when I do get to it, I would need to come here to get my licensing for C license. And it's not until you get to your C license is when you can actually coach a national team, Aufili.
Yes.
But le level I can only coach like a high school level youth team, so groups whapinga. But it is I'm finding that I enjoy coaching more than I do refereeing. And it's the best transition from being a player. Yeah.
So nice. Well, you'll be able to share your techniques and your skills.
Yeah. My first year as a coach for my alma mater, Leone High School. Shout out Lions. My first year as a coach, we went undefeated.
Ooh.
And we were the champion. We took the championship title, and I was the coach of the year.
Coach of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. More added.
So many things added.
Yeah. So aside from being a football player and a coach as well, you are also an ambassador for the Rainbow Games 2026.
Yeah.
Like for you as an ambassador, like what would you say to a young Jojiet member athlete who's nervous about joining their team?
Yeah. So my first time as an ambassador, I was asked to be an ambassador at the first Rainbow Games. I think it was in 2023, I think. And it was used as a campaign to host the World Gay Games. So I'm not sure if they were, or no, they weren't able to secure being hosts. But they're still going to have the Rainbow Games this year, and I've been asked to ambassador again. And my first experience was a real eye-opener. There was a lot of community involvement that went into not only the organizing of the games, but in the participation. There was representation from all over the Pacific. Even a Samoa netball team, and they won gold.
Yes.
There was a volleyball team from USA. And then I went as an individual, not only as an ambassador, but to play five-a-side soccer.
Nice.
And I was able to secure support from the Oceania Football Confederation for the Rainbow Games, and we'll be working with the Oceania Football Confederation again this fall when October. So if you're in New Zealand, stop by and support, watch a match. But what I would say to youth is, I think we as indigenous folk in the region have a privilege. It's not to say that Fa'afafine and Fa'atane and Sojies youth have their struggles.
Yes.
But we do have a privilege in that we are recognized by our communities. And what we found in American Samoa, a study was done by the Department of Education. The most vulnerable groups of Fa'afafine and Fa'atane are the youth. Because that's where they're learning to find themselves, finding the courage to not come out, because I always say coming out is a Western experience.
Yes.
But for us indigenous folk, it's more of a coming of age experience. So, if a lot of the struggles are when we're at our youth. That's when we're most vulnerable. So to Fa'afafine and Fa'atane youth, Sojies youth who feel like they are trying to find space and the courage to take up space in sporting environments, do it. There are many Fa'afafine and Fa'atane individuals who play at very high levels that you can seek support from. Myself, you can ask Safa'a. There are a lot of athletes in Safa'a, and Brown Girl World, of course, will be able to find you the support you need. But please, pursue your dreams as an athlete. There is always opportunity for you to explore, to pursue your passion to play. And eventually the hard times will pass and you will find that opportunities to excel in your passion as an athlete will always be there.
Well, thank you for that piece of advice to any soldiers community member that's been struggling just to find their place in any of the teams, especially when it's Rainbow Games as well. So aside from all the games and all the football player being FIFA member, you are also a Fa'afafine Rural Project Manager Alliance in American Samoa. Like, I wanted to ask, like, what is a kind of a typical day for you back at the Alliance?
Oh gosh. So this is my third year as a program manager for the Fa'afafine Rural Project.
Yes.
We're somewhat of a sub-grantee of the American, or a sub-award of the American Samoa Alliance Against Domestic and Sexual Violence. So our program focuses on DVSA work, domestic violence and sexual assault work, as it pertains to Fa'afafine, Fatane, the broader Soji-esque. In the grant, it's written for Fa'afafine only, but in the spirit of inclusivity, especially for this kind of work, we have to be able to include all kinds of Soji-esque identities in the work that we do. But a typical day, I have to say, we after we furnished the space, after we hired staff, the first thing we did was launch the Fa'afafine Resource Center.
Yes.
So we made history in July of 2020. Boom, ngalo. I think it's July of 2023, April 2024.
Yeah.
We made history by launching the first Fa'afafine Resource Center in American Samoa. Yeah, and it's focused on developing safe spaces, organizational spaces, communal spaces for Fa'afafine in American Samoa. Again, Fa'afafine, Fatane, and broader Soji-esque. And our resource center is so busy. So a typical day would be me coming into work, and my program assistant, Z Romero. Shout out Z if you're watching. And then maybe 20 minutes later, visitors from Sofia.
Yes.
Ole, see you on office. If it's not meetings, if it's not executive meetings, it's general meetings at Sofia's. It's wellness hours for Fa'afafine groups. It's Fa'afafine youth who are coming to use our computers in our resource centers or doing research. If ang computers our mini library that we have to do some research for like History Day or whatever it is. And then weekends, we have 2 sessions at the resource center. People just bring bread and butter and tea and kile TV and fele makamaka nga aka. Ya fele tungu ya kia yale aka ya fele tungu wole ang ale safe space wo loke uma oriso ka aka. But yeah, aside from that, a lot of the work that we do, again, focuses on DVSA as it relates to Fa'afafine youth and Fa'afafine elderly, because the study that we did early on in the program recognized that our Fa'afafine youth are the most vulnerable, and then the most neglected are our Fa'afafine elderly. So a lot of the programs that we have, like Asisinga Fa'afafine for the elderly wellness, and then we have our Falalalanga talk show where we talk about issues. We have, of course, our annual DVSA months, April and September, in October. We have Pride Month. We have so many things that happen. Yeah, there's a lot of things that happen, but yeah.
Because seems busy and and with the little space that you have there, but I feel like it's really big with everything that's happening. It's so good, like making a really safe space for the girls back in American Samoa and having them come over. Like it's really good to see like them coming. It makes you feel like they have entrust. They trust coming there and they trust sharing stories of whatever, because knowing that once they leave, the stories remain there. And it's so good.
It took time because before the resource center, we would have to meet at like someone's like an officer's house or an executive advisor's falikile But now it's always the resource center. Faunga may resource center, and that way too, it built for justification for the need because we have our sign-in sheet every time someone walks through the door. Sign in. So at one time we had 300 signatures in a month, and we use that during our reporting, our quarterly reports. It justifies the continuation for the need for funding. So we include that in our reporting. The federal government looks at it and says, "Oh, this community really does need the safe space. Let's continue to fund them." Yeah.
Aloha. Thank you. So, just recently, you have attended Women Deliver.
Shout out Women Deliver.
Yes,
WD 2026.
As part of the American Samoa delegation, I was part of the Samoan delegation through Fiji Movement. Like, what was your take from Women Deliver?
You know, I think for us from American Samoa, we have to appreciate it more than not to say really appreciated organizations from Samoa, but a lot of the NGOs in Samoa have more opportunities to go to these kinds of global spaces. As an unincorporated, unorganized territory of the United States, if I'm kaya mako, any kind of global work has to be under the United States. So take for instance my DVSA work. We have to attend trainings and conferences in the continental United States. Ikaw lo sa DVSA work in, say, even if it's here in Samoa or in anywhere in the Pacific, that would be considered international. And the federal government disallows any funding for NGOs to go to international travel or expenses. And so when we're given opportunities through organizations like Brown Girl Woke, because it was Brown Girl Woke that I was able to attend Women Deliver. Even though I was a representative of American Samoa, I was under the organization of BGW. But that doesn't mean that I can't take what I learned from WD to spaces in American Samoa that might benefit my community in American Samoa. The challenge for us is how do we contextualize the things that we learned in those spaces to benefit and fit the experiences how do I say, to fit the narrative in a way where they can then use it. Because we might be Samoans, we all might have the same language, culture, and customs, but the truth of the reality is experiences of Samoa from American Samoa and Samoa. And so that's what we have to do as representatives of American Samoa in these global conferences, to contextualize it to fit people in American Samoa.
Malo, but how was your time in Melbourne?
I had so much fun. I also felt empowered because I won the Miss Sophia's pageant Friday night, and then Saturday morning I took a flight here to Apia to make my way to Melbourne.
Yes.
And so I was on zombie mode the whole way there. But then the morning after, the first day of conference, I felt empowered to just take a break. And I felt bad. I told Doris, "Sorry, girl, but I might be here for under BGW, but I'm gonna put on my feminist empowered hat and just take the morning off because I need it." I had a busy week with Sophia's and then traveling, so I skipped the first day morning, and then I was able to join the rest of the days, picking and choosing sessions that I feel would again fit my community in American Samoa. And then on our side experiences that we had, spending time together with you and just walking around the exhibition center and with our other representative Leslie Famuina, who I also work with at the Alliance, and then Luisa Kuaya, who is the director of the Medicaid office. Shout out, ladies, way to represent American Samoa. It was a wonderful experience, and it further affirms the maybe not affirms, but it made me want to participate more in regional and international conferences like that.
Yeah. Malo, like for me personally, the trip to Melbourne was something. It was a fruitful event.
That was your first time?
It was my first time, and it was also my first time in the space as well. And to hear speeches from feminists around the world,
and these high, powerful figures,
and then
women.
Here we are from Samoa, just sitting there. I was like, oh wow, I actually can't believe I'm here, and having also the honor to share our stories among. In these rooms,
and just being in those spaces together. Oh, so empowering.
So, and it just made me want, I want to do this more often. Like it's so inspiring. Like I just loved it. I just enjoyed every bit of time.
Well, you should do more of this work. You did very well. I have to give you your flowers. I'm gonna give some time to Nu to recognize her for her presentation at the youth groups.
Yes.
It was so inspiring to see someone who not only a full advocacy, but also first time in these global spaces, first time out of Samoa, and you killed that presentation. I'm so proud of you.
The only thing was that, in my head and my mind is the representation for my youth and my girls back home.
Yes.
The amount,
the load of
emotional breakdown I had to go through every time calling back home. It was okay, but I really thank God for allowing us to go over there and have our voices within those rooms, and people hearing our stories, such amazing, and coming back home and sharing it with the girls, the experience that we had. It's a one in a lifetime. Who would knew I would be there in that space?
Buckle up, girl, because this work is heavy.
More coming.
And based on your the level of, you did so well, and based on that, I foresee a lot of other opportunities coming your way.
Appreciate it. So after all of this and just being crowned Miss Sophia on Friday night, and then the next morning you really had to be on that plane and come to join Women Deliver, and I know you missed out on your prize giving, and also the girls who came also as well, but being the newly crowned Miss Sophia, what will be the next big goal for you as using your crown, and especially with all these amazing experience you've had and how much you've grown, and living back home and serving your people, what would
I was asked this, I think it was earlier today or on Ngafia. And the way I see it is, I did this work before the crown. It's going to continue during my reign, and it will continue after my reign. It's just what I do. And in my capacity as the Miss Sophias now, at least now I have the backing of the whole organization. Not that they don't back me as a program manager for the Fafafine project. They do. But I feel like what I want to focus on in this 1 year that I have this title is moving on to the next steps of ensuring Sophia's becomes a tax-exempt organization. They're able to secure their 501c3 status with the government, and then that way we could start applying for grants. Because right now, where the Sophia's organization is fully funded by community, we have fundraisers, the Sophia's pageant being our main fundraiser. And the monies that we get from the pageant goes back into the community by way of the Hope House. We usually donate money to the Hope House for the elderly, the Catholic-run housing for Tangata Matsutua, and then our children's ward visitation every Christmas. We give gifts to the kids. So those are our two main donations to the community. But outside of those two things, I want to make sure that Sophia's takes up space in the region. So I'm trying to we're gonna be here for not only for Safa'a, because we always come Ishua le Safa'a for sure, Safa'a.
Yeah.
But I want to bring a delegation to Pride Week. Ale BGW joint with Safa'a. Maybe we can have a workshop. I was talking to Desi earlier about taking up space for allowing Sophia's to take up space to have a workshop. And then I was also asked by Eleganza, the former Miss Safa'a, to judge the ballroom that Saturday of Pride Week.
Pride Week, yes.
But then, more than that, I also want to take up space. I want Sophia to be representative in Pacific spaces, like the Pacific Human Rights Conference in Tahiti in September, at the Rainbow Games, even in October. I want to make sure we take some Fa'afafine athletes to play, just to have fun and be represented in these regional spaces. America. Yeah, so, but then a lot of times it's really hard for us to relate to the experiences of LGBTQI+, because experiences of Fa'afafine Samoa. So being more aligned with experiences of Wakasalewalewa, of Mahu, of Rere, of Binabinai, of Palopa, of all of, within the region. Being more sharing space with our community as Pacific Islanders.
Yes, mahaloa. Yes, congratulations. And I know, like, with all the projects you have lined up on your calendar.
Oh my gosh.
This year, like, I have no doubt that you will represent Sophia well. And you will carry that crown with grace and honor. And very proud of you and your journey ahead. We can't wait. But, I know there's a lot of things that you will do. And you'll be a great ambassador for not only the sisters back home, but for Asia Samoans as well. Very proud of you and your journey.
Thank you.
Before we end our show today, Jaiyah, like, there are some of our young Sojias, and this will be uploaded up and all the viewers will be viewing, or just wanted you to take on an advice on our young Sojias community members and so as people watching. Like, what would your message to them be?
I think the biggest thing for me is to find your voice, find your strength, and if you don't, and if it's hard for you to find your voice and your strength and to feel empowered in your identity, seek help. There's always going to be organizations and programs from Safa'a, from UN Women's Health, from Brown Girl Woke, different organizations that already have programs set to support you in your journey in life, to help make your experiences as youth all the more rewarding, but also safe. But also for our SOGS youth to always remember the strength that lies with your indigenous identity. I know I said that throughout the whole podcast, but there's so much power in reclaiming your fa'afafine-ness, your fa'atane-ness, your fa'atama-ness, your whatever it is that you identify with, because our culture provides space for that, for us, for these identities. And we hold value on the family level. We are sought after to, take care of our siblings, our elderly. On the community level, we're sought after to organize, to decorate the church, to help support the choirs, to, all kinds of things. And then on the government level, take up space. If there's legislation that doesn't sit well or endangers the well-being of our SOGS community in any way, lobby your lawmakers. There are Fa'afafine lawyers. Alex Sua, the president of Safa'a, is also a lawyer. There are there's manners and ways and a lot of pathways for us to find the support that we need, from youth all the way up to elderly. So Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Jaiyah, for that piece of advice. And I know that our viewers and watchers always appreciate you for taking that out of your heart just to make sure that, finding their voice and getting help if what is needed. There are other organizations that would come to, and also there will always be people helping you.
Yes.
So thank you so much. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude, Jaiyah, for taking the time and making time out of your busy schedule just to join our show. And also I would like to extend my safe travels to you if you do return tomorrow, and sending my love to you and the girls back home. And that is our
Thank you so much,
end of our show today. I would like to appreciate Jaiyah and also Brown Girl Woke for lending out this space so that we can continue to podcast and share our stories and feel empowered in whatever we do in life. And that we have to end the show. Thank you so much for watching. See you again in the next episode.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.